My plan is to say no to increased taxes and work for cutting taxes. For instance, making permanent, which I co-sponsor laws in Congress, making permanent Bush tax cuts, which deals with everything from estate tax or death tax.
Do you think that if you don't put a cap on the increase of federal spending each year, that we're ever going to do something?
We got to put a cap. Well, but it can't simply be a cap. We got to reduce. We've literally got to reduce. We've got to look at departments. And that's where it means that you've got to have people with guts and aren't there just to keep the job. I've lost this race once. I don't think it can hurt any more to lose it a second time if I were to go back. But I also know when I look at my grandkids in the face, and I take my little grandson out, one of my twins, his brother is in heaven. But they had the best care at 24 weeks when they were born that the world could offer them. One of them made it. He's his grandpa's best buddy now. But his income is already paying for it now. You're absolutely right. And we've got to keep that picture in mind and say we cannot do it without ruining lives, opportunity, liberty, freedom, and maybe even security for our posterity. So I think absolutely put a spending cap, but I think that spending cap has to, for a period of time, have a ratchet down effect of saying it's not going to keep up with inflation for a while. We're going to cut. And that's, somebody mentioned earlier that, try not to hurt one side or the other. I think it's going to come to the fact that everybody's going to have to accept the fact that we're all going to hurt for a while. There's been mortal damage done to our country. Mortal damage, not fatal, but mortal damage to our country. And we will only rebound if we do surgery and not just Band-Aid. And that people don't want to hear. And I think we can do it appropriately. But I think the mindset of an elected official has to be taxpayer first. And we and the bureaucracy has to have a mindset of we are the servants. And that is a different mindset. But we also have to communicate more effectively to those people that have become so used to entitlement mentality. I had a gentleman call me today who spent significant campaign contribution money to me in the last election. Small businessman in this district. Doing some creative things in green energy as well as other small business issues. And I've been calling him and getting no callbacks. And finally got a call back today. Cut to the chase. He says, I'm supporting Mark Schauer this time, and I think I'm leaving the Republican Party. I'm going to become a libertarian. So when I forgot him, his talking out, I said, could I ask you two questions? One, what would make you say that you were going to be a libertarian if you vote for a liberal Democrat spender, regulator? He said, well, I'm not a real social policy issue guy, abortion, all that stuff. Though I'm not pro-abortion, that's not a big thing. I said, no, I'm not necessarily talking about that in relationship to you as a businessman. I'm talking about him passing legislation on health care. It's going to be a huge tax increase on you and will potentially put you out of business. I'm talking about a cap and trade tax that no matter how green you are, will potentially put you out of business and make it much more difficult. Well, he ended on, I said, well, maybe I'm not as much of a libertarian. I said, well, the second question, what has Mark Schauer done for you as a small businessman? Well, I can't tell you right now because we're working on it right now. He's getting me some government contracts. So I'm going to be successful as a small business person, and the government needs some contracts. Defense industry needs stuff that we produce, and I'm glad for that stuff. But if that's the only thing that's going to keep our economy going, that this small business person will only stay viable if Mark Schauer can get him one contract from the government for whatever he's producing. We got problems.